In Uganda, the controversial anti-homosexuality bill has been revised after outrage from human rights defenders who said it led to fear of more attacks on gay people. The original bill criminalized people for identifying as LGBTQ+. It's now been changed at the President Yoweri Museveni's urging. Earlier, I spoke with Ugandan activist Delavi Kwagala about this. Delavi, thank you so much for joining us on our show. So this controversial bill in Uganda, it has been amended slightly, watered down slightly. What do you make of that?
I think either way, at the moment, as the queer community, we are pretty doomed, to be honest, because whether it's the watering down or signing the bill or not, at the moment, unfortunately, it's already an act that can be implemented, whether the president signs it or not from this moment, because since it has been already read 3 times in parliament, it already becomes an act. So either way, it doesn't protect us in any way. The bill doesn't allow for any queer survivor whatsoever in Uganda at the moment.
Yeah, what does this mean for the queer community in Uganda? How does this change their lives?
To be honest, the lives have already been, inflicted. Like there's already violence on the ground that is ensuing onto people. There's already people that are being thrown out of houses, not only that, but also in villages as well, where chairmans are like, get out of our village, we don't want you. We do already have cases of corrective rape and all of these horrendous hate crimes and all of that. And it is because of, obviously, of the whole talk about the bill, because every single time that they speak about it or discuss it in a parliament, it feels like the society feels like it's their responsibility to actually carry out these heinous crimes onto queer bodies, onto us by parading us and getting people naked and beating them up and all of that. So these things are already happening, whether the bill is being signed or not. And Uganda also has an history of using this bill over the last decade, to threaten the queer community. So every single time it feels like the government, every single time when the government has something to distract people from, we have always been the scapegoat, right? So this continues, it means that we're going to lose more people once again, just like we did in 2009, just like we did in 2014 up to 2015, just like we did. We always do, because this is like the realities of queer living in Uganda, unfortunately.
And
so the bill doesn't.
Delavi, if I could jump in there, I mean, you actually live now in South Africa. Is there any option for you to return to Uganda?
Not at the moment. At the moment, I can't really return to Uganda because I was in Uganda since December 2022. And I only came back here for a week to pick up a code of conduct from the police so I can renew my visa that I can renew back at home. I mean, from here. And I was notified that I'll be arrested at the airport because of my visibility, one, but also the work that I've been doing with hashtag What Next, a platform that I created to share information and resources, and also to fundraise to the crisis, in response to the crisis that is the passing of the anti-homosexuality bill. Because being a photojournalist by profession, my work, my career that I've created for the last 7 years, documenting realities of queer living in homophobic countries at the moment is a crime. I can't publish or print out any work. And also fundraising, if you're aware about the details of the bill, is also considered as aiding the promotion of homosexuality. So basically, this bill affects me in many different aspects. My work, my individual, personally as a person, and also at the moment, also my child as well, because I have a 9-year-old who is trans, who I can't necessarily return home because they now be imprisoned for child endangerment. So either way, it doesn't feel like I'm able to return home at the moment, which is really sad because all of my equipment and all of my work are still in Uganda because, again, I left with an essential bag to return and I wasn't able to. So in a way, I became a political and homophobic fugitive in a country that also doesn't allow me to stay because as I speak right now, my visa is expiring in the next 20 days. And guess what? I haven't received any help. And this is why I keep saying, like, visibility without protection is really a death sentence, because then I worry about me putting myself on a front line to fight for our rights and actually talk about this, which is dangerous in Uganda, and then what that means for
and in
me
other
and the
countries,
child.
Delavi, if I could jump in there, because other African nations, as you said, they're passing bills similar to Uganda. And what we've heard from some African leaders is that this is about instilling African values, not imported Western values. What is your response to that?
To be honest, the only imported values right now that they're talking about values is homophobia. Homophobia is the only import that is coming from the West. Homophobia is the only an-African thing that we can recognize, because honestly, we do have history of queerness in Uganda. It's just that they have tried to continuously erase our culture and our history. We have King Mwanga, all of the books speaking about this. But not only that, also, we do have countries where the things were normalized, like they were normal to be queer, women marrying women, and also like, men actually being two-spirited was a thing of spirituality. But at the moment, since they brought in religion, which is actually the colonial aspect that has led us to this, it means that they have forgotten and now are starting to use selectivism, colonialism, selectivism to only kind of like refer to it when it works for them, which is really, really not fair, because we deserve rights to live as, Black queer people, because, we are humans before we are queer.
Delavi, we have to end the conversation there, but thank you very much for joining us here on BBC News and sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.